Hello everyone, Voices here, and today I will be guiding you on how to play Slayers. Those are definitely the best comp in this patch, whether it's Olaf or Trinomy, more so Trinomy after the B patch, since Olaf will get nerfed. I will still cover both of them for the sake of this video, just because I'm pretty sure they're going to be good in any patch until set 5 arrives. So yeah, I will not cover Samurai just because the only thing to do with Samurai is just to have Sharpshooter and have the right items, meaning GA, Deathblade, and let's say QSS or something like that. Then it doesn't matter what frontline you have, as long as you have Sharpshooter and Slayer, you're basically good to go. It's also a tier 5 unit. It's a legendary, meaning you can only get her late in the game. I would rather have covered the 4 cross carries that you have more chances to find in the game. So, yeah. Please subscribe to this channel if you enjoy this content. Let me know if you do have any questions about anything. But here we go. So let's start with the standard level 8 for Olaf. So there's a little thing here before I get started. This is coming from Gun May's guide, so credits to him. He is a challenger, known to be one, if not the best Olaf player in the game. So credits to you. He made the guide a little earlier. I'm just gonna cover some details out of it to make sure you guys understand. So this is the standard level 8. You know, frontline is great. 2 legendary units, 3 slayers, no chosen. This is like a great stable board at level 8 that should get you top 4, potentially top 1 actually, depending on your items. Best in slot for Olaf, everyone will agree that it is GA Deathblade Runes. So they are nerfing the cleave on the Runes. I still think Olaf will be really good. You are still gonna play Runes just because that will still target more than one unit. It will still destroy the entire team. It still has cleaves, so it doesn't matter. It will still be viable. After getting 3 slayers for him, basically the Olaf Pike and then a third, Samurai being the best, but after before that, I mean, it can be Trinomy or it can be Darius. It's just whatever you hit, right? Unless you have Slayer chosen, of course. I will cover that later. But yeah, some strong synergies. You would consider maybe a 3 Dragon Soul if you could. That just depends if you find Swain. If you find Swain, then I would definitely go for Dragon Soul instead of 3 Cultists. But having, 3, 5 cost upgraded at level 8, I didn't want to be too greedy. But this board is pretty solid. You have Vanguard, you have the Mystic frontline, you have a Morgana with Morlo, which is super strong. Yeah, there is not much to say there. So now I'm gonna cover different variations of the comp. So we're gonna start here with first the Dragon Soul. If you get Dragon Soul Olaf specifically, this is a great version of the comp. You have Vanguard Saf on your frontline, really strong. You have the 3 Slayers with Samurai Pike. You have Cultist and Sharp for the Samurai with the Silver. Having the Silver here means that the Olaf will get even more attack speed once the Silver ults, so I really like this positioning. Also, it's safer against assassins. Usually the Samurai will move around this way anyway, buying you even more time since the assassin will have to walk towards the new location of the Samurai. So I like a lot this positioning. A little trick also you're going to see is that Aatrox is always near the Olaf, and there's a simple reason for that. Is when the Aatrox pulls the units onto the Olaf, the Olaf will basically target them to death. and if they're not targeting them, they will get cleaved. So it's all good for you to have more targets on your Olaf so it could kill more units, right? Which is what Judge Rock should always be on the same side as the Olaf. Pretty standard here. Vanguard, you still have Cortis for an additional unit, additional CC coming in. That can buy some more time for the Olaf, and the Dragon Soul buff to proc. Be careful to not put the Swain here, because the Dragon Soul buff there is only one blessing. So you really want the Olaf to take the first blessing, right? Which is why it is here on the side. Usually the units here will target the Morgana or the Sejuani and not the Swain, just because it's a little bit more on the side. And the Sharpshooters or the backline that you have here will target the Atrox and the Olaf. Yeah, so a little positioning trick there. This is just the 3 Dragon Soul version. I will cover the 6 Dragon Soul version a little later. But it has some clean synergies, so yeah. Saffroner is not that needed just because you already have healing with the Slayer buff, but it's additional to frontline units which you do need for the comp anyway. So yeah. Now if you get Vanguard chosen, so Vanguard chosen, it means basically Sejuani or Aatrox chosen will be your best solution here. You can just go 4 Vanguards, right? The idea is just Olaf plus frontline, as always. For now, for this composition, the model will be great on the Sejuani, big ult, everybody will burn and get stunned, that's fantastic. You still have the Aatrox Saver Pike for Kotis, Saver great with the Samira once again. Yeah, some clean synergies, you have Slayer, you have Dragon Soul, and you have a big frontline. Yeah, that is all you need really. The idea for any of those comps is going to be the same. It's like 1 carry press frontline. Now to 6 layers. So this is a little different. It's just I put the RFC here, but you can just put it here and put the GA. It's totally fine. So the thing here is you're gonna have a ton of damage, right? So it's going to be a little like assassins in a way. So you have to be careful with this because your frontline is not as solid. You basically have vanguards, and the rest of the units are just CNG bots, right? For just 6 layers for the Olaf to kill everything, and the Samira, of course. Again, if you do get 6 layers, this is fine. This is totally gonna be top 4able if you get those units, especially upgraded. Not my favorite version of the comp, just because you have some dead units or not with really clean synergies or the stronger synergies, but nonetheless, if you do hate those units, you know, you could definitely play them and be good on your top 4. Dragon Soul 6 this time. So I would play. So we all know about the 6 Dragon Soul 3 mages composition with the A Soul carry. To have the Slayers in with the 6 Dragon Soul is a little bit hard. Which is why Galmoe recommends only playing this if you have the Dragon Soul Splat. I will agree with him. Going 6 Dragon Soul with an Olaf carry doesn't seem that right. So if I do get those units, this will be a stable board, right? But I will not run it until the end of the game. I will pivot out of 6 Dragon Soul to 3, and then adding maybe 2 more Vanguards, or you know, Cultist, Sharpshooter, something like that, to help with my damage and have more protection for my Olaf. But nonetheless, 6 Dragon Soul is really strong right now in this patch. They didn't touch it at 6. So 3 Blessings is going to be really strong on your Olaf and Swain. The Braum would be okay as well. Yeah, that's basically the idea behind Olaf carry, guys. Now, I do believe that this will be the strongest version that you can have at level 9, like where you're fully stacked. Basically, you have all the strong synergies together. You have Vanguard, you have Mystic, you have Slayer, you have Dragon Soul. Everything here is basically good. To have Sustain, Frontline, 3 GS with a Zillion. Um, yeah, so this will be if you're going for top 1 and you can go to level 9, I would recommend going for those units. This is Dragon Soul chosen, so I would recommend, of course, Olaf. But if you're going 9 and you already have Olaf 2, maybe you get Swain Dragon Soul, go for it, right? You can add Safraner with the Morgana, you're good to go. And now we cover Trinomy here. So this is definitely a different comp. I will cover a lot of variations. This is just my favorite. There's so many of them. There's even one where you don't even play Warlords. You just play Vanguard, Trynda, Slayer, and you're done. I'm gonna cover what I think is the best, just because of the clean synergies and what was working for me. But the idea is to basically have 2 duelists. I really think Trynda needs duelists to be able to do really well. Of course, you need Slayer. The Pike is always the best. Samira is the third if you don't have Slayer chosen. I will cover that later. Yeah. Also for items, so in a way, you can see Trinomy as an assassin just because he will basically spin to the backline, right, and towards the carry. He can be seen in a way as just a 4-cost Yasuo, if you know what I mean. So on a Yasuo, you would want GA, IE, QSS, /Titans, those kind of items. Deathblade sometimes with Runans. So it's super flexible for Trynda. I do not think there is just a best in slot for him, just because pretty much anything works. I like having the GA for sure, tanky items, Titans being the best, and then just another sword item, i.e. Deathblade, would be best. Chancer if you can get that. Yeah. So the idea here, of course, is you have your mid shields here. You also get the keeper buff. You want Trynda in the center so you can spin directly to the fast line as fast as possible. With those true frontliners, it should not get bursted down, which is also why you put the soldiers here. So the sharpshooter targets this and not your frontline directly. Once he spins, he will target the backline units. I don't know, maybe it's a Kale, maybe it's a Kindred, whatever it is. And with those items, it will have enough damage. Yeah, Trynda right now is super strong. This is just the standard level 8. Again, there's 2 legendaries, but really strong legendaries. They give you Warlord, Keeper, and Slayer. So, yeah. Now for Warlord chosen, so basically you drop the G4, right? You would have Azir always. This is the comp I would go for. Again, clean synergies, you have Warlord, you have Slayer, you have Duelist. Your Trinomy is basically capped, right? Of course, I put Olaf here, but ideally what you would want is, of course, the Samira. She's just the better unit. Better Slayer without items than the Olaf. The Olaf would just die, especially with a GA. So I would rather have the Samira, but before that you can make Olaf, Darius, another Slayer, basically. The idea is the same: mid shield, a little CC, more CC, Trinomy, tanky, with slash down the back line, we come back to clear the front line. He does 10k damage, you win the fight. Yeah. The Warlord chosen variation. Duelist. So it can be considered that this is the best just because you don't have basically dead Kalista on the back. if you do get duelist chosen Trinomy basically. So you can get back the Warlord, 3 Warlord, 3 Slayer, you have the Vanguard frontline, and basically anything else that can help you either protect your carry or add more frontline. A great addition is Zillion. If you want more frontline, Set is fantastic. And basically any other legendary after that is good. For item wise, it's basically the same. I didn't change any of the items on any variation, but yeah, just let me know in the comments if you do have any questions. It's GA, a tanky items, and a sword item I think is best. You can go GA Last Whisper IE. You can go GA Deathblade Runans. Like, there is so many things that you can do. It's yeah, really flexible. Now to Slayer chosen. So this time I dropped the Samira. Yes, I do drop the Samira. Just because I prefer the Pike Stun, to be honest. I think it's better, especially in the late game, for the Trinomy, to basically have time to kill everything. With Trinomy, you don't need more damage. Like, it will kill everything, it just needs time to kill everything. And with all the CC that you have, that should help you, because if you do look here in this composition, the only units that don't have CC are the duelists. That's it. And that's the idea behind the comp. So yeah, same thing as before. Vanguard's at Mish Hill, although keep buff on the Trynda. You could consider put the SG here to have more keeper value, but in the late game I don't think it's that worth. So I would rather just do this, and you have a stronger front line. Now on to the potential strongest version of the comp. This is debatable, and you need a spat, so that's really, you know, hard to get. But 9 warlords, and if you do get the samurai items or the Katarina items, this should get you a first. This is super strong. You have clean synergies, everybody has so much HP. Even if Trinomy doesn't kill everything, the Katarina ult will kill the rest. And even if that doesn't happen, the Samurai will clean up. The Samurai has Sharpshooter in here thanks to the Nidalee, so, you know, really clean here. So I covered everything about what potential late game you can have, but I didn't talk about the early game. So let's do that. And there is multiple early games that you can go for depending on which composition. Again, this is coming from Gunway. I will just talk about it real quick and talk about item orders or any smooth transition that you can have for each carry. So we talk about the potential sharpshooter start. So Trina is a fantastic item order for the Olaf. She will be your item order for quite a while, especially if you get her sharpshooter. The idea here is basically to have to add slowly the dragon sword units and more vanguards or warlords depending if you're going to the mirror. But this start right here is super cheap and super strong. If you can get the Garen 2-star early, maybe with a tanky items like, I don't know, Sunfire Cape, if you don't have those items, because let's be honest, you should not have those items in early. If you do, please go ahead and slam them, but you know, yeah. So the item order here is great. You can have the potential Morello on the Timo, especially for sharpshooter. It's fantastic. You can go on the Morgana or the Sejuani later on. So I'm totally down to slam the Morello if you don't have the Sunfire here. And then potentially it just depends what you hit, right? So this is a great level 6. Here you can add Warlord, you can add Spirit, it just matters what you hit. If you hit the G4, there you go, you have Warlord. The G4 will get some stacks, the Garen as well. and then you can transition smoothly into Trinomy in the late game. This will be your Sejuani, this will be your Trynda, this will go on the Sejuani or the Morgana depending on what you hit, and that's basically it. You just upgrade the sharpshooters into the front line. Those items will go on the Trynda. You have your warlords. You will have the duelists. You're good to go. Another great early game that you can have is Brawlers. By the way, 8 bars is still good, so just letting you know. 4 Brawlers, 6 bars even, if you can hit that, is fantastically good in the early mid game when you can hit that. Remnants, basically Shyvana is your item order here. Remnants, Deathblade, GA, the Trynda / Olaf items, you will dump it on her. Yeah, so this is with Brawler chosen at say Maokai. You find the Nunu, you find the Shyvana, you add in the Tristan Hybrid for Dragon Soul. Yeah, this is super strong. You just put all the items on the Shyvana or the tanky items on Maokai or Nunu. Send Fire Cap on the Rakan, of course, if you can. But that's another great early game options. And what you can do from here, since you already have the Dragon Soul buff, it will be easier to go into Olaf. Just because this will be your Olaf, then you will just get the Vanguards online instead of the Brawlers. And that would be your smooth transition. Yeah. So remember, I said before that basically Trynda is another form of 4-cost Yasuo. Guess what? You just can go 4 duelists in early game and that's it. You will just have your Olaf / Trynda items on the Yasuo, and then whatever duelists you can have plus Divine, Siphoner is a really good early game. There is not much more to say here. You will drop the Siphoners for more frontline. You can have maybe the Shen and add that frontline instead of the Vanguards. That's also good for Olaf. It works. Again, the idea is to have a frontline. So if you have Adapt as frontline, maybe Yone, Shen, Aurelia, that's good. Keep it. It works. You just will need your Slayers and it will be harder to fit the Dragon Souls, but it's your front line. So if that's what you hit, go for it. But yeah, for duelists, this is definitely your item order. Tanky can go on the Fiora on the Jax, and you're good to go. Another variation, so this is really specific with Cultist chosen. There is a Sivir carry comp that's being a little discovered under the radar right now, that's been doing really well, and I will make a guide on it pretty soon because it's the 3th top 4 comp after 9 Cultist. You can play it with 9 Cultist and 3-star the Sivir, but there's also a version where it's 4 Sharpshooter. That's very strong. I will cover that in a future guide. But for this comp, you have a lot of small, strong synergies, is the idea here. Having Warlord and Cultist already in the same count in the early game is super strong. The fact that you have Vanguard and have a Sharpshooter Sivir is also nuts. So this is one of the best early game that you can have, because from here you can do anything you want. You can go Dragon Soul with Vanguard frontline, you can go Trynda into Warlords since you already have Warlords. It really doesn't matter, you can go any way you want. You already have the Vanguard, you just have to basically switch this for Sejuani, this for Aatrox. This is Sivir, this is basically your Olaf Trynda item order. Yeah, you have the Warlord here that you will keep the entire game. So, yeah, another great early game that you can have. You can potentially add a Divine a little later, let's say Jax, and there you go. Really strong. This is just waiting room for the Trinomy or the Olaf. But that is it for this guide. I know it's long, and thank you if you're still here watching this, but I wanted to have a detailed as much as possible. I covered every possible chosen for Olaf and Trinomy, and what I believe are the strongest versions of the comp, the best items, some positioning tricks, and here are the potential early games with transitions that you can have until level 8 roll down that are really strong. Yeah, just let me know if you do have any questions in the comments or on my Discord. But we'll see you guys next time.